So hello, we are back with another video. This time I'm going to be uh, ranking all of the combat patrols of 10th edition, so current edition of making a video, and yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. So straight in, short intro. Let's go. So I've gone on tier list maker. I've made quick run throughs. This is all of the combat patrols of currently out. And so, yeah, go straight in. So, first up, we have the theory. I butchered that, sorry. As they're the elves of 40k, with them being one of two members of the Craftworlds. So, Craftworlds are these, to my knowledge, they're like big floating islands, and they move around constantly to try and avoid danger, and they try and stay out of trouble. But 40k, so they always find it. Um, Design wise, I'm not the greatest fan of Adira. Um, I do think the combat control is pretty good with 24 miniatures. You get quite a array. Nothing too big in terms of like big, bulky like warships or anything like that. But I think they're I'm gonna put them B. I think that's a good primer. I think better or worse than Adira. It's very clear. So it is. Up next, we have the Tyranids. So the Tyranids are almost like the bugs, so they are the bugs of 40k, where um they're like this huge hive mind, very intelligent hive mind, that the goal is basically just to eat. That's their whole goal. It's why they're considered to be the only good in heavy quotation marks faction of 40k, because they're not driven by hate or aggression. They just eat. They're just hungry. As the box goes, you get 32 models. You get quite a good mix of smaller and larger units. I think that's pretty good. Plus, Tyranids are a really cool faction, so they're going in A. I think that's about right for me. And next we have the Adeptus. No, that's Astra Sororitas. Adeptus is, I think, male because you have the Custodes and it might not be because it's Astra Militarum. I'm not sure. Someone have to comment that down below. There we go. First plug. I wonder. I got to do a plug counter at one point of how many plugs I get by the end of the video. Be huge. Um, Adeptus and Astra Sororitas. Who is Adeptus? No. Um, they are the they are the female space marines. So you have the Sisters of Silence and Sisters of Battle. They all fall under this bracket, and they are like the emperors. They're like they're like the emperor's bodyguards, similar to the Custodes, but they're like warrior priests. So they're kind of in between um Mechanicus and Custodes, where they're warrior priests, taking it from both. I think I actually quite like the design. I think there are better models, I think, and in terms of like bigger units, you don't get as many, but you do get 29. I think that's a higher beat it personally. It's definitely gonna not go well for me. Imperial Agents, I think the reason they're in it is because I they're kind of just there. I don't really know too much about the Imperial Agents. They kind of just feel like the SAS in a sense. You have the as a personal kind of I either like the really bulky, strong factions like the Space Marines and stuff like that, or the weaker, like we know we're gonna die, but we fight anyway, like the Astra Militarum. This feels like the middle ground and doesn't suit it as well. I think, as, even though they're just kind of regular guys, I just think it's just not really it. So we have Adeptus Mechanicus. These are the surveyors. Honestly, they run the whole Imperium. They are consistent of tech priests and they control the technology, they innovate, their goals are to research and learn about the like technology that's come before them and develop their own to improve the Imperium, which is it's a very good idea. The nines, I do like the flying units, and I do think they've got some decent ones. I just they're not my favorite world design, so I'm gonna pop them in beta. Beta is a very good. Um, the Genestealer Cults. Again, I don't think they're as bad as the Imperial Agents. I just don't think Imperial Agents are much going for. They just kind of like very generic. I know they've got the the whole thing where it's like they want to use Tyranid DNA to expand and improve, but weirdly, it reminds me. I know this is definitely came before it, but it reminds me of I don't know the name of it, but the cult from Alien Dark Descent, if anyone's played that, where they use, because in that game they use xenomorphs. Their goal is to um, become xenomorphs and become part of that as the next step of human evolution. And they've got it to a less extreme extent because some of these actually fully become like half Tyranid hybrids. But they have it where they have the chest burster within their like chest. They're like they're in control, but they that shows that they're like safe compared to xenomorphs. Kind of reminds me of that. And as cool as that design is, I just think these are kind of very generic. Um, next is League of Votann. So this is the only Xenos faction that is actually okay with like that the Imperium is actually okay with. So these actually kind of go hand in hand with Imperium. These are dwarves, and they help out. They innovate. They're pretty standard dwarves. I think the design wise of them kind of like looking like smaller space marines, but then their other larger models are good. I think you don't really see the larger models in this, and this is relatively new. I think because when I was checking um when I was going through and looking at Warhammer stuff, this didn't come up immediately. So I think this is relatively new in terms of combat patrols. So I'm gonna pop him and see. Oh, I'm gonna drop Aeldari down and put Lisa Bolton in B. I think that suits it better. Next is Chaos Space Marine. So these are the generic kind of dark Chaos Space Marines, and I really like the designs. I think there's a really good, well-made design. They've got enough changes to them to make it look chaos-like and stuff. I actually do appreciate because I think all they're not my favorite faction. However, all four actually, sorry, is it all four? Well, yeah, because you've got Thousand Sons, uh, World Eaters, Death Guard. Yeah, so all four. There's no Emperor's Children, Combat Patrol. What they're not on there as of current. But I think that all four of them are well designed in terms of in terms of models, and this is actually a really good box. for quite a good spread. So I'm actually going to put that. I like Tyranids. I'm going to put them in the lower of A, but above the rest of it. Orcs. This is an interesting one. So I actually really like Orcs. I think they have they're aggressive, they're bulkier, they're and they're also absolutely nuts in terms of just what they can do, and they're like obviously stupid because they have abilities that just would go too powerful. It was so they have an ability where it's like if they all the orcs believe in a certain thing comes true. It's the reason that if they put a red stripe on their vehicle, it goes faster. And what I learned recently is that if they paint their cars purple, they go invisible, which is ridiculous. It's, it's incredible. And this is a relatively good box. You get quite a lot of you get a lot of stuff to it, and it pairs well with Puffy. So, how's it sound? Um, when I had a look through this original, Thousand Suns were a lot higher. I do think they're higher than Chaos Space Marines. I think the Egyptian look and the fact that all the rubric marines are like sarcophaguses with because of Magnus's actions, he kind of turned them into dust and trapped them in the armor. I think the battle force is actually pretty good compared to this. And I think that would be probably higher in terms of boxes, but I think this one's got good array. You get a lot of rubric marine, you get the cultists, you get the Infernal Master, I believe. It's the Infernal Master, which is very good. It's a very all-rounded box. You can do a lot with it. All the Space Wolves. Up next, we've got the Space Wolves. So, in terms of Space Wolves, I do actually like them. I think they're going to go above Chaos because not S tier just yet. There's actually not that many S tiers. Well, I think the way I've done the list is that I've got three S tiers, one from each faction in terms of like Space Marine, Xenos, and Chaos. And I'll let you know when that happens. Don't worry. Space Wolves being this, the light blue is really good. The Warsuit is actually nice to have in the combat patrol. Plus, they've got revivers, and actually quite a strong squad there. However, actually, there is no how. They're pretty good. I like the ball with them just kind of being very, these just very aggressive, just love to fight. They're very similar to orcs in that sense, but and they canonically drink loads and fight, which is always funny. Um, you can't see it in this box, but they actually ride into one actual wolves, which is very cool. But yeah, they're gonna go in A tier. Death Guard for me is my least favorite. They're actually gonna go B tier. These are my least favorite of the Chaos factions. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not a bad looking thing. Plague Marines have a interesting aesthetic. Not my favorite aesthetic, but it is still very cool. And one of the things that like, the box is actually relatively. I think it is actually in terms of miniatures has the most miniatures out of any box, which is very cool. It's very nice to have. The Death Guard for me is my personal favorite. They worship Nurgle, with Nurgle kind of being the most caring Chaos God, because the plague aesthetic is actually supposed to help them, even though it makes it they're like rotting and falling apart. But I think out of the Chaos, they are probably the most unique in terms of the other Chaos, like the Berserkers, Legionnaires, and Rubik Marines. They don't have this decay effect compared to the Death Guard. So in that regard, they are unique. However, just that uniqueness doesn't appeal to me. So they're going to go B tier. They're going to go above Sororitas, and they're going to go above, but they're going to go below Adeptus Mechanicus. This is going to change. I think I'm going to change this up. And for Dark Bride. Now, I actually think the Dark Bride within the Dark Elder look better than the Adira. I think you also get the two ships, which is pretty cool. And lore-wise of them being a bit more aggressive, and they I think they share a trait similar to Blood Angels, where they drink blood and have this sustain themselves. So I'm not a fan of elves, but these are I do like these. Now, like many people, I'm not a fan of Tau. I think there is they don't suit well they do suit the grimdark aesthetic. You do get a big ship and you get the big um like Titan kind of thing with the drone. But they've got this like sleek futuristic look. They're another Xenos faction which aren't aren't for me. I think the sleek futuristic look doesn't isn't better than the grimdark kind of future fantasy kind of look where everything's like bizarre, knight armor or something along those guys. That something along those lines. So they're going to go D. They're going to go high D because I think they're better than these two, but they're just not for me. Not for me. Um, we have got the Custodes. So Custodes are similar to the System of Battle, apart from they're not priests. They're just like the Emperor's bodyguards. I do think that the gold looks well. Smallest box out of all of the combat shows. With it like the thing with it being small or large or not isn't actually it's not smallest box, sorry. The smallest box is the Grey Knights. So it's actually not even the second smallest. You've got Blood Angels and actually these got quite a lot, but you've got Space Marines that don't have many. Um for me, I don't think they're I think lore wise they're not as interesting as other stuff, with it being from but that's I haven't read that much about it. I know them as just like the Emperor's bodyguards, and it's pretty much as they say. I don't really see much of them, but I think being in par with the sorry artists is about fair. Maybe a little bit worse. The gold armor's pretty cool. I do quite like that. Angels. Now, mm, but I usually go higher B. The reason why I usually go higher B is because I like the gimmick of um after the death of Sanguinius, they all Sanguinius is a good primer, so that helps them out. Their need to like they're all vampires, but they all need to like satiate the hunger by drinking blood. They all go into this like spiraling range at the site of Sanguinius, which is not great for them, but it's a really cool gimmick, and I actually quite like that. But I think the red designs, but they kind of look like inverted firemen. Is not amazing as a design, but I do like it. And the box is relatively big. You get quite a few jump packs, a few normal intercept um intercess. I'm going to work on pronunciation because that's like the main fruit of Space Brains. And I can't pronounce it. It's gonna go so well. Um now we have got normal Space Marines. So these ones are Ultramarines. Um This, if I was going, I'm gonna go off the box for this one because in previous like checks through to make sure I knew what I was doing in terms of like I had a look through this before I built the list or I built the combat patrols. So I was got they'd be lower in terms of don't think Ultramarines. I think that as the base kind of faction, they're pretty cool. You know, they follow the Codex Astartes to like the T. Gilliman as a Primarch's great, but he's better than someone else, like some other people. But as a box, this is actually a pretty good box because you get the Terminator squad, you get a few Infernus Marines, which is pretty cool. You get a librarian, you get the captain in Terminator armor, which would go with the Terminator squad. So as a box, this is actually quite high. So I'm going to pop it in here. I think I think that's a shout. Oh, this is another one that's changed very highly. So as of making this video, I have played one game of Warhammer, and I was playing my mate, and he went Black Templars, and as the only real best army that I built on Tabletop Simulator was my World Eaters army, which I'll, I'll, um, I'll pull up. I'm not sure if it's in the last video, but I'll showcase it at the end. That won't be, yeah, I'll showcase it at the end. But that's the army that I do at the moment, and it is very fun. Being able to charge in and just devastate is very, yeah, I really like them. I like the aesthetic. I like the blood. I like Khorne as a blood god. Sorry, Khorne as a chaos god. But I guess he is a blood god, so because it's blood for the blood god. I do think I really like them. I think they've definitely changed my opinion because this definitely was swapped around a lot. Like S tier was Chaos Space Marines, and then A was, and then with World Eaters, I think World Eaters were a B in a previous list, but they've definitely stepped up. I think it looks a lot better. I think World Eaters are actually really interesting and really, really good as a faction. So yeah, this is, yeah, let me know if you guys think. Ooh. So I know I had it as so Grey Knights, another really good one. I actually think that I'm actually going to go like this. So Grey Knights for just because I'm running one, they can go in. They can go in top of S tier because I actually really like them at the moment. Yeah. Grey Knights. Now I actually really like Grey Knights. I think they're also another really lore wise they're kind of mysterious. They're all really strong psychers that are immune to chaos. The only thing I dislike about them is their kind of like treatment of civilians and guardsmen, where if they see chaos in any shape or form, or like if they see anything about the war, they kill them to like kind of hide it away, which is not fun. And I think I prefer the salamanders ideals, which they don't have a combat patrol because I think the way you build salamanders is that you just when you run your like Ultramarine army, they have the same models, so it's just a different paint. But I um I think Grey Knight's ideals aren't in the right spot because of that. However, I still like this. I still think I think design wise they look amazing. Medieval kind of armor, the the silver looks really good. The only thing I think Dread Knights for me, I know a lot of people really dislike them because of like kind of the baby carrier kind of look. I think I think it's decent. It's a lot different. If it was, if this was a Terminator, like if it was like a Venerable Dreadnought, like a Space War Venerable Dreadnought, then that would go so well. Like if there was a silver, I don't know if they can run the sword and shield dreadnought, but if you could have that instead of the red knight armor, that would be instant. That's the only thing I'd ever buy. Because that would be amazing. Like a knight dreadnought. Because you've got a Viking dreadnought with the axe and the shield in the Space Wolves chapter. That's also kind of why they're high, because Bjorn the Fell-Handed is also very good. I really like the dreadnought though. Yeah, I think that is they're gonna go in S tier. They stay in S tier. Astra Militarum. So these guys are so these are going in A tier. The reason they're going to go to the bottom eight here, but they're going into the reason, as I said before, is that I really like either extreme power or so little power that you're fighting the fight. Just like you know you're going to die. I'm going into fight anyway for whatever I'm fighting for, which I think is immense. I think it's amazing. They probably have the most, in terms of like the ones that are loyal, are almost braver than Space Marines or something like that because of that knowledge that they are one dude, just trying to save, like trying to save the world, or save the world, trying to stop Xenos or something like that. Next on the tier list is Necrons. Now Necrons are as a Xenos faction very good. They got a bit of a revamp. I didn't see them before the revamp, so before they were kind of just like Space Terminators. Now they've got this like ancient um, ancient setup where they're immortal because they always reanimate, which I really like. I think that's pretty cool. I don't think they're A. I've got a lot of A's here. I've got a lot of B's here. I think everything's going to get popped down a little bit just because of how it is. I don't think they're as cool as Space Marines. I think they don't they interesting nature is going to put them above the Legend. I think this is fair. Oh, well, I'm going to drop Lisa Vulcan down into C. I'm going to do this quickly now, and Death Guard into C. I think these four factions are like, I don't dislike them. I think they're all right. I think they just don't suit me. Whereas these three, I just don't like. There's nothing wrong with them. I just, the gimmick or everything either has a really good design or a really interesting gimmick that makes him very different. Like, I'm not a fan of the Blade Guard design. However, I appreciate that. Like, I like Nurgle as a Chaos God, and I like the Decay gimmick, even though I don't like the design. And Lisa Vulcan, I like how they're the only Xenos faction that actually like works with the Imperium, even though I don't really like the design. But then towards, I don't know how much better you do um towards like Space Marine towards. They're not my favorite like fantasy faction. We have Dark Angels. So now Dark Angels are first. They're the first detachment of Space Marines in terms of they're the first faction. I don't know if they're the first army. I guess, but they're the first. They are they are tasked with stopping heretics within the Imperium. It's their job there. I think the Purge the Heretic flip is a Dark Angel, which I think is brilliant. I think it's such a great scene. And I think as the kind of like ultimate ultimate force against heretics in particular, I do quite like that. I like the Deathwing Terminators. I think this is what they are. Even though the kind of beige color is a bit strange, I do like that. I think Orks is really well done. Having a good size number of units is always good. Or should I say units, it's miniatures. But yeah, I think they're my favorite of. I think they're going to go at the top of A-tier. And finally, we have Black Templar. Now, I'm not going to lie, they're my favorite faction. They have the most unique kind of. So it's very interesting because they are a branch of the Imperial Fist. Them being in a branch of Imperial Fist doesn't mean they are a starting faction. However, I think they are more interesting than Imperial Fist because Imperial Fist is just like we're good at building fortifications and we're good at holding down a section, which is cool. And then you have the Black Templars who completely reject the teaching of the Codex Astartes, who reject the idea that you're limited to 1,000 space marines per chapter. That's it. So Dark Angels is the first chapter, but they're limited. All other um, chapters are limited to 1,000 space marines or something like that, unless they're on a crusade. So what did Black Templars do? They're always crusading, so that way they never get done by it. They never get done by the rule. They also have, as a box goes, they've got a very well made box where they've got a full Primus Cruiser squad. They've got sword preference as well, I think, and they've also got Impulsor, which as an Impulsor goes is actually a very good transport vehicle. Even though I think the Cruiser squad is actually too big for the transport. I don't know if you can split and have it like half and half, so like half in the transport, half not in. But I don't think that. I think you have to keep units together. So it's kind of just a vehicle because of that reason, and not much can go into it unless you have like a normal instances. Um, you have a normal squad, but I think design wise, law wise, they're also kind of they're not like have a pure hatred for Xenos, which is pretty. I like that they go full in on the like this, and Salamanders like that's why they're my two favorite Space Marine chapters is Salamanders and Black Templars because Black Templars go all in and Salamanders go and try and go like the least in almost where they're just trying to help people. So they're not malicious or aggressive. They just help people, and that's really cool. And Black Templars are actually still pretty chill with Guardsmen. I don't think they're like if the Black Templar came in. I don't know I don't know like if the Guardsman attack was like if Guardsmen were like attacked by Orcs. I don't know if it's black and you saw a Black Templar coming in. You, you'd be very safe. I don't know if that's because they really hate the Orcs or they're gonna protect you. But either or, you have these guys. You have the Salamanders like protect full and even though they hate Xenos, they still protect the Imperium and they still care about the Imperium. They also treat the Emperor as a god, which not a lot of other factions do. Like the Ultramarines kind of uh, disagree with this notion. They kind of see the Emperor as a man, as a but Templars is a god, so they're very religious. So they're proper like all in, and I really like that. So yeah, this is the tier list. I'm going to do a quick shuffle up. I think I already did the shuffle up. So these three are staying like they are. This is fine. Necrons being in B is probably a little bit unfair, but I think that's fine. Blood Angels, yeah. I actually think this list is now perfect. I yeah, I think having four S tiers, I guess is one of the because Grey Knights can sometimes be there's sometimes they're not Space Marine chapters, sometimes they are a Imperium of Man, but they kind of fall outside of the they're Adeptus Astartes. So they're not actually so whereas Black Templar, Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, they fall into the Adeptus Astartes. The Grey Knights are actually outside of that. They kind of do their own thing. So technically we're applying all four so we've got we've got one Xenos in it, one Chaos, one Astartes, and one Imperial map. It's just how if that's up to you if you agree with that or not. But yeah, um, let me know what do you want to see, and I did say I will I will show off the World Eaters. Get a sneak peek for, as you can see, we've got it fully loaded up. This is my World Eaters army. So I'll give you a quick rundown of how I run this. So to start with, Angron has Deep Strike, and so I actually put him in reserve immediately. I don't start him in play. I like to drop him in next turn to get quick into because you can put someone into Deep Strike 9 inches away. Charging distance is 12 inches. I like to charge him in straight away, almost. So hopefully he completes the charge, gets away with it, and then we're straight in to. But then we have Demon Prince, which is kind of in terms of abilities and strength, he's kind of like a smaller aggro, but he starts in battle. He doesn't have deep strike, so I and you also want to because of devastating stuff. You do kind of want him to get this charge. And I believe they also get Relentless Bridge too, which is very useful. And having devastating points is also very important. Using this, it's not as it's not as costly to fail the charge because at least you get shots off with your Infernal Cannon. But yeah, so each of these rhinos puts in. I think the rhino has a self repair is good unless you're getting like absolutely blasted. I believe, to my knowledge, that they can transport 10 infantry units each. So this squad of berserkers goes here. This squad of berserkers goes here. I actually think this squad of berserkers goes here, and I attach the master of executions to it, put it all in it. No, runners can do 12. That's what I remember. These are just my like infantry. They would start in the battlefield, and these guys would. So I don't know the rules about putting stuff at height, but from when I played my friend, I had him on like a rooftop just the because it has such a high range autocannon with a load of rolls. We just put it at a high range and aim at infantry because of the furious onslaught. That's what I would do to give it some extra hits, stuff like that. Blessing of Corn's also very useful. Like if you can get 666, which is almost impossible, being able to revive Angor is incredible. It's an incredible ability. It's very unlikely. It's, but deadly demise as well is very important because you can get big chunks of damage just get by getting lucky. Uh, and then I'm not too sure about extra attacks to use it. I always use this Mollified Fist as my two abilities that I use for attacks. I do need to get a lot better. I realised that when I played my friend for the first time, we did do a very simplified, dumbed down version because I forgot all the abilities. We didn't play with any victory points. The whole goal was whoever can kill their army first wins. We didn't play victory points. We just played that. Whereas next time we'll do victory points, we'll do objectives. Because we didn't know objectives, we didn't do any command points either, so no strategy. Just to me, so it meant battleship was kind of pointless because none of us ran from any fights, and we didn't have to do any desperate escape checks. Plus, battleship kind of only affects stratagems. You can't use stratagems on it, and and not being able to contest objectives because there were no objectives. There was nothing really we could do. So I think that's going to end the video here. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. I know the last video didn't do too well. Hopefully that will change by the time this video rolls out. We will. I've got to work out when what when my stream will be. I'll put a post out on Instagram, Twitter, all of that about a week in advance, so everyone's got enough time to have a look, watch the video, get an idea of when the stream will be, post a schedule on Twitch, but we'll have to see how that goes because I don't know if because of how long that first game took with little incentive. I don't know how long I can be streaming for to know that it will last. So that first stream might quite literally be an hour, 2 hours with like a combat patrol size squad, like 500 points, just to, and that will be a very much a tester. That will be very much just to get stream to see if it will work and see if we can actually do it properly. Because I do get, like I said, I'm Twitch Plays Warhammer, and they've not streamed once since the channel, and we've almost been going for a month, which is a bit scary. I don't think I've definitely seen a dip in posts. I know I've done that. I need to get better at that. I need to consistently keep up with the posts. But one of the things that motivates me to keep doing this, keep going, is the views, is the comments, is the likes, subscribers, all of that. So if you do see the video, if you get this far, like, comment, subscribe, and we will eventually get to a point where I won't be just playing Tabletop Simulator. I will actually be using miniatures because I think that's the best way to do it. And as fun as this is, and as easy it is with the dice and the rulers, and FTC is very useful. I do think the way to play Warhammer is in person. Well, in person as in using the miniatures, painting the miniatures. That's the whole appeal of it. If there were just battles, they wouldn't cost nearly as much as they do. So yeah, thank you for watching. Uh, Ramble done. Don't worry. I will split the combat patrols into, like I did with the army breakdowns, in terms of price. I will break down the combat patrols, so I will split the videos into each depending on how long this video is, how long I talked about each box. Maybe I won't do it. They'll come out one a day after this video. So if just stay tuned for the shorts, they will come out. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.